Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is day 100. Yes, that's right. We've reached the 100-day mark in TowerGate, which means it's been about 102 days since Donald Trump tweeted out that he was being wiretapped. And so it's been a long stretch over the past 99 days. Of course, a lot of it has culminated to a head in the last couple days since the most recent James Comey testimony. But we've heard from a lot of different people in the hearings, and this stuff will continue to go on. But we'll be hearing from Mr. Comey again, I'm sure, and hearing a lot more about him in the future, as he has got a long way to go as we find out more about what a despicable, dishonest, politically corrupt individual he was. And we'll continue to learn more about Mr. Comey as the future goes on. But today I wanted to do something a little bit different, although I have to tell you that we've got a pretty heavy week coming up this week, Tuesday through Friday. I should be able to get a lot of this information I've been researching for the past few days. I've got some new information, some really good stuff coming out this week. So Tuesday through Friday, I should be able to get most of this stuff into the videos that I've been working on. But today I wanted to do something just kind of different because it is day 100, something kind of fun, and respond to some of the things that I get, not so much on my YouTube videos, but on my Facebook page. I guess I get more of this stuff because there's, I guess, more people around on my Facebook page, and friends of friends and people I don't know or I've met or whatever. I meet a lot of people because of the nature of the things I do. I meet lots of people. I remember a lot of faces, but I don't always remember names. But people do get my Facebook, and they do friend me on Facebook, and I do get comments from people who maybe don't know me personally, although a lot of my friends on Facebook, know me. They're my friends I grew up with as a kid and whatever. But I do get people ask me various questions about things. And so I thought I would just touch on a few of those things, not just for my Facebook people, but also for those of you on YouTube. And I kind of feel like I know some of you because we do share in comments every day on my videos. And so I kind of feel like I've made some friends here on my YouTube channel. And so there's just a few things I want to have some fun with today, and help, maybe you can learn a little bit more about me and where I'm coming from, and I can maybe learn a little bit, just a little bit, about some of you. I understand, a lot of people on YouTube want to remain kind of anonymous and don't want to give up too much information. I do understand that. I'm not in that situation because I actually do YouTube videos, and I have a Facebook, and I'm a public person in the city that I live in. I'm a musician, entertainer on the side from what other things that I do. I've been doing this for about 30 years, so I'm pretty well known in this particular area anyway. A lot of people know who I am, so it's no big deal. But anyway, just a couple things I get that I'll give you some background on. I'll give you the basic background for those of you who are not familiar with me or whatever. Basically, I live in a small farming community about 35-40 minutes north of Cincinnati. It's a small farming town called Germantown. It's a very small town, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. That's all. It's mainly farmers and stuff like that. I live out in the outskirts of town. I live in a very unique situation. I can pull out of my driveway in 45 minutes. I can be in Kentucky or Indiana. So I live right at this kind of the southwestern tip of Ohio. Let's see. My background is I pretty much grew up in this area. I grew up in a very political family, mostly Republicans. I was one of them kids. I was a little different. While all my sisters and all my friends would be in the other room playing with toys and watching cartoons, I preferred to sit at the big adults table in the kitchen, where my family members would all sit around the kitchen table and drink coffee and talk about politics. So I was 7, 8 years old, and I was much more interested in sitting there at the table sipping coffee with a lot of cream and sugar, talking politics with the adults, while all my cousins and siblings were all in the other room playing with toys and fighting over things and cartoons and such. So I guess I've always had kind of a political nature to me. I consider myself to be a libertarian anarchist. I divorced myself from the Republican Party in 2002 and pretty much became a libertarian, although I did support Donald Trump in this past election. I was a big fan of Ron Paul. I supported him and worked on his campaign in 2008, 2012. Still support Ron Paul to this day, and Rand Paul quite a bit as well. He was my first pick to support going into 2016, but then after he got knocked out, I moved toward Trump. I never really cared much for Gary Johnson. I did vote for him, I think, the last time around, but he just kind of went really off the rails this time around. So I did vote for Donald Trump and continue to support him. As far as my background, I currently work for one of the largest General Motors parts distributors in the world, and we ship out a lot of parts. Needless to say, been there for about 11 years. Prior to that, I worked for one of the world's largest, if not the world's largest, retailers as a skip tracer. I attended a school on private investigations for 1 year and got my certificate, and that's how I moved from the customer service department into the skip tracing department, where I worked primarily tracking down people who were stealing furniture on stolen credit cards. So I worked a lot with the police in Miami and also in New York and in Baltimore and various other cities on a lot of these crime rings where they either use stolen credit cards to buy merchandise, or sometimes we actually had a couple of crime rings that would actually go to places where there were furniture and major appliance deliveries, and they would wait for the merchandise to be delivered. They would pretend to be the person receiving the delivery. They would sign for it, and then they would put the stuff into a box truck and take off with it. Multi-million-dollar crime rings involved in this, and so I worked a lot with law enforcement and tracking down these criminal rings, and that's what I did when I worked for this major retailer. Prior to that, I served 6 years in the military. I served 4 years regular active duty and 2 years in the reserves. I was stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas in the 1st Infantry Division for about 2.5 years, and spent the remainder of my time in Schwäbisch Gmünd, Germany, assigned to the 56th Field Artillery Brigade, which is Pershing. I was in a Pershing nuclear missile unit, and I worked as a, let's just say, in the communications of that particular unit. And I left the military in 1988. And okay, so that's just the basic background information on me. Someone had asked me a while back on my Facebook page about the name The Seeker. Okay, so some people think, okay, well, I'm like one of these guys who's really, into, seeking out information, and I'm looking for the great truths in life and all these sorts of things. No, that's not me at all. In fact, my girlfriend says I'm the most shallow person she's ever met, and that is absolutely correct. My hobby is reading encyclopedias. Okay, I'm not looking. I'm not in search of the great meanings of life. None of these things. None of these things really even interest me. I really don't even care. I'm just not that type of person. The fact of the matter is, the name The Seeker. Okay, what happened there is I'm a really big fan of The Who. They're my favorite band. I happened to be sitting back on my couch one day listening to my Who album, and The Seeker was on, and I was listening to it, and I'm just kind of singing along with The Seeker, and I was thinking about starting this new YouTube channel. This was right as I was looking into the Seth Rich things before I started this TowerGate segment of videos, and before I started doing the YouTube videos for this subject. But the fact is, I already had 2 YouTube channels. I had one YouTube channel with my partner, who we have a musical comedy act that we do here locally and around the tri-state area, and so we have a YouTube channel which we would upload our videos there. I also had a personal YouTube channel, which I really don't even do anything with it. I used to do videos just on stuff that wasn't so political. But so I was getting ready to start a 3rd YouTube channel to do this kind of stuff, and I needed to find a new username for that channel. So I'm sitting back listening to my Who album, and the song The Seeker is playing. And I thought, that would be a pretty good name for a YouTube channel, The Seeker. But I thought, oh, I'm sure that someone's already got that. It's too popular. Someone clearly, I'm sure, has that username. But when I went to set up the YouTube account to start doing these videos, I thought, oh well, the worst that can happen is it can tell me it's already taken. So I typed in The Seeker, and it took it. So that's how I came to the name The Seeker, based on the great Who song, one of my favorite songs of all time, The Seeker by The Who. And so that's how I came with the name The Seeker. My real name actually is Mike. Michael or Mike, whatever you want to call me. Most women call me Michael. Most guys call me Mike. I don't really care, Mike or Michael, or you can call me the Seeker. I don't care how you want to address me. It's fine. Call me the Seeker, Mike, Michael, or hey dude, or whatever. I really don't care. So anyway, that's kind of where that comes from. And let's see. I guess that's about the basics, the background today. But so for today's video, I'm kind of interested in a lot of the people that comment on my videos and where some of you come from. I know a lot of you maybe won't want to disclose that. That's fine, or your name or whatever. That's all cool. But if you want to, I thought we might have a little fun with the comments section today. So I thought just for kicks to do something, you know, a little bit of stress relief, because we'll get back to the hard stuff tomorrow. Is that I thought maybe in the comments section, if y'all want to, on this particular video, we can all maybe talk about maybe some other things. Like I'd be interested to know what maybe some of your favorite, you know, bands are, what your favorite songs are, or where you come from, or something like that. So I'll put something in the description box there and kind of tell you right away. As I already told you, I'm a huge fan of The Who. They're my favorite band, and of course I think The Who's next album was the greatest album ever put out. Of course, you know, Sgt. Pepper's was a great album by the Beatles. But when you look at the Who album, I've got it right here. Just think about this album. You had The Who's Next. You had Barbara O'Reilly, which a lot of people call Teenage Wasteland. Bargain. Love Ain't for Keeping. The Song Is Over. Going Mobile. Behind Blue Eyes. Won't Get Fooled Again. And these are just the big radio hits. These were epic songs all on one album. And my favorite songs on this album are not even the big epic hits, the big radio hits. But just a fantastic album, The Who's Next. It's my very favorite album, and The Who is my favorite band. I'm also a huge fan of Deep Purple. Very big fan of Deep Purple, and probably because my favorite guitar player, and the guitar player probably the biggest influence on me, Ritchie Blackmore, who I love. And I also really like Ritchie Blackmore's stuff that he's been doing with his wife over the past 15 years or so, the Renaissance music, Blackmore's Night. And that's really great stuff. If you've never heard any Blackmore's Night, you might want to YouTube up some Blackmore's Night. If you like Renaissance classical music, it's fantastic stuff, and I'm a big fan of that. So anyway, that's kind of like my favorite bands. And of course, I guess you have to say, like, my favorite songs. Well, my favorite song of all time is probably the Art Garfunkel version of Only Have Eyes for You. I think that's one of the greatest songs I've ever heard, and Art Garfunkel does a fantastic job. It's a remake of an old 1950s song, but anyway, I love the Art Garfunkel version of that song, although I have to say that the song The Seeker is probably high on the list of my favorite songs as well. My favorite thing to do is probably to hang out with my girlfriend on the weekends and watch movies and eat. Sit there and stuff our face on the couch and watch movies. That's pretty much what I do, other than music, which I'm kind of do whenever I get around to. We were just actually at the recording studio last Sunday at a friend of mine's studio I was doing a session for a country artist, a local country artist. I used to do a lot of session work back in the 90s. I played in 2 different bands at the time that were pretty popular in the city, and I also did quite a bit of guitar session work for a couple different studios who would call me whenever they needed somebody to come in and play some guitar on a song or something like that. So I did a session last Sunday, but I don't do much of that anymore. Mostly play for my own fun these days, and of course I do have a partner. We do musical comedy. We're called Allard and Aerosmith, and you can find those YouTube videos or Google us. We're all over Google, and we perform a lot around here, and we also do a lot of private events, especially around the holidays, and we stay booked up all through Christmas and everything like that. So anyway, we do kind of nasty stuff, but it's adult humor, but we have a good time doing it. So anyway, so if you're watching this video today, I'd be very interested to know maybe where some of the countries or cities that some of you come from. Maybe tell me what your favorite band is, or your favorite songs, or whatever. And just anything like that, any fun information, favorite food, or what you like to do. just something fun for today that maybe some of us who do communicate in the comments section can have a little bit better idea of who we're talking to some of the time, and where we come from. Of course, if you don't want to disclose that information, I understand that as well. I mean, it is the internet, so you may not want to disclose too much information. But anyway, just maybe some fun stuff that we can put in the comments section for today. I do read. I go through the comments section on every video and try to respond to as many of the comments as I can. I try to get over to Facebook and do that as well. It's but at some point, I'm real busy. We're working a lot of hours at work right now. We're real busy. We're working 11 5-hour days, but a lot of them days turn into 12 and 13 hours because we're short-handed, and you got people going out on vacation and stuff like that, and every person that goes on vacation, the rest of us have to carry that load. So we have a lot of going on, plus we're really busy, and that's good. People are either buying a lot of new cars or they're having a lot of car accidents, which is not good. But either way, we're staying real busy at work, and that's all good. And hopefully you all out there are doing well and enjoying life as much as possible. And despite all the frustrations that we have, all the things that we talk about every day on TowerGate, it is frustrating a lot of the time. But there's also some very good stuff going on, and I think we're moving in the right direction. Yeah, we want to keep it light every now and then, and just have some fun. We need to do that every now and then, so we can unwind a little bit. So anyhow, that's basically what I wanted to do today. Just kind of have a little fun. So yeah, let me know your favorite song or your favorite band, favorite songs. Maybe you got a couple favorite songs, a couple favorite bands, what you like to do, or certainly where some of you come from is pretty interesting to me. What country or what city or what state. You don't have to tell me exactly the town or the street you live on or anything like that. Just interested, in where my some of my people who tune into my channel, where do you guys live, what part of the country or what part of the world, and maybe what you guys do for fun, or what your thoughts are, music and food and things like that. So yeah, any of that kind of fun stuff you want to put in the comment section, I think it's cool that we can kind of share that information and have a little fun. So anyway, that's pretty much today's video. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow night, Tuesday night, the rest of the week with some real hard-hitting information from some sources I've been really digging on for the past couple days. I got a lot of notes to review because I go and I write down all this stuff. I take the notes, I have to go back and kind of review it and think it through and determine what it is I'm actually operating with to try to make a cogent point about something. And I've got some a very fresh and cool take on the media, which drives all of us nuts, the liberal media. But I've been giving that some thought, and I've got some thoughts on that that I'll get to later in the week on why we should all not get so angry and bent out of shape with the liberal media, because they're actually doing themselves tremendous, they're doing us a tremendous favor and doing tremendous harm to themselves. And I'll explain to you why I've come to that conclusion in another video here in the next day or two that I think that you'll be very happy to hear. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel, spreading my videos around. I of course love the fact that you guys do comments and take part in the conversation, and it's cool. It's just another way of communicating with people, and it's nice to know that there's people out there in the world who think the similar way that you do. Because again, if you just sit back and listen to the propaganda, it can get pretty depressing. So reading your comments and seeing that you all check into the videos is a good feeling for me to know that I'm not out here all by myself just pulling my hair out or anything like that. So anyway, I appreciate all of you, and hope you all have a good evening, and we'll get back to the hard stuff the rest of the week. But yeah, let me know some favorite songs or food or what you like to do, where you're from. That'd be cool. Alrighty, see you guys. Bye.